Hi friends, I'm Scott Giles and welcome to Saturday at 2:30. Every Saturday afternoon at 2:30 I shoot a short video blog here on Facebook Live, and which I will later edit and put up on my YouTube channel. Uh, I am a consulting hypnotist, a member of the clergy, and also a life coach. And so the work that I do on these blogs orbits around those three themes, but for the last 3 weeks, I've been talking about ancient Greek philosophy, and I actually hold 2 degrees, a bachelor's and a master's degree in philosophy, and is one of my very first loves. Today, I want to talk about the integration of those three last videos, what I call the Golden Way. The three philosophies I've covered: first, Epicureanism, which comes from about the year 300 before the Common Era. The notion of the Epicurean is that the good life is always to seek such moderate pleasures as are available in order to have tranquility and a sense of freedom from fear and pain as much as possible, regardless of whatever afflicts you. And there's no denying that life can be painful. There will nonetheless be moments of pain, moments of pleasure and peace. Don't ignore them. Savor them. Our country right now in the United States is going through a very difficult time politically. Yes, we're all concerned about it, including me, but that didn't stop me from savoring the really fine meal I put on the table on Christmas Day or New Year's Day. There are always opportunities for some pleasure, and cherish those, even in the midst of difficulties. That's the Epicurean way. Very, very similar to the way of mindfulness that we see coming out of Eastern philosophy. The second philosophy was Skepticism, from about the year 400 before the Common Era. And this is based on the notion that we really don't know anywhere near as much as we think we know. Much of what we think is knowledge is actually belief or opinion, and they can always be mistaken. I talked about Gödel's proof, an expert in logic and mathematics, who proved that any ordered system of propositions cannot simultaneously be complete and consistent. If it's consistent, if there are no contradictions, it has to start with something that is taken on faith, and then everything else goes from there. If it is not consistent, it will be incomplete. The other part of that is that if you create a system that is entirely complete, where everything can be justified within the system, you will be able to find contradictions. And this can be proven mathematically and through logical calculation. So there's always a leap of faith required when you put together any comprehensive understanding of the world. So therefore, understand that such views of the world are based, at the most primitive part, upon something that you're taking on belief, on opinion. The skeptics talked about fantasy, which is your sense data. This is mostly accurate. You know what you're experiencing, although you can be mistaken, optical illusions and such things. And doxa, which are your opinions about your sense data, and that can easily be mistaken. Knowledge is never absolute. It always is merely opinion about what you're experiencing or have experienced or observing. And there's the famous verse from the New Testament in 1 Thessalonians, prove all things and hold fast to that which is good. Keep trying things to discover what works for you with a reason. And if it works for you, keep doing it. But understand your knowledge is necessarily partial and incomplete, and therefore might have to be updated. That's skepticism. The third of these philosophies was Stoicism, also from about 300, the year 300 before the Common Era. Always strive for self-mastery, and you do this by differentiating between three things. What you can control, which is largely your own thoughts and behavior. What you can influence, although not directly control, this would be your civic behavior, participating in, say, politics or discussions or group processes of various sorts. And third, what you can neither control nor influence and must simply abide. You do the best you can with the first of these, what you can control and what you can influence. But for the last one, what you cannot control or influence, you use those as an opportunity for self-improvement by making decisions about what you'll make of them. It may be terribly tragic that you've come down with a life-changing medical illness. That's not within your control. Now, there are things you can do about having that illness, yes, get treatment and so on. But the fact that you have suffered that misfortune is not within your control. But as it has happened, how can you use it to become a better person? How can you use it to become more empathetic, more self-caring? How can you use it to become more courageous, more philosophical, more balanced? That's the Stoic challenge. Always make a reasoned choice, not an emotional one, about those things that you can't control, and use your own power to decide how you'll respond. Now, these three philosophies are not atheistic, although they do not depend upon a supernatural or theological belief. As I said, Skepticism is very consistent with the philosophy we see in the New Testament and Thessalonians, and Stoicism is very consistent with the Serenity Prayer of Protestant theologian Reinhold Niebuhr, who said, "God grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference." That's pure Stoicism. These philosophies, however, while not contradicting a theological belief, focus on us, on what is within our legitimate sphere of control. They're not reliant on God helping us out, and they're not reliant on some sort of a reward coming to us after death. But in the old labor hymn was called, "You'll get your pie in the sky by and by when you die." They don't buy that. They say that, harvest the pleasure that you can in whatever situation in which you find yourself. I'm reminded of the great philosopher Viktor Frankl, who was imprisoned in a concentration camp during the Nazi rise in Europe. And he said, no matter how awful your situation is, there are still things you can enjoy. He could enjoy a beautiful sunrise when he would get the soup they were given. Sometimes someone would give him what they called one from the bottom. They put the ladle into the soup pot right to the bottom. It has a bit more meat in it when you do that. And he would cherish that. There's always something to enjoy, even in the worst of situations. So these three philosophies form what I call the Golden Way. Stoicism is the broadest and really kind of includes the others. Distinguish between what you can control, what you can influence, and what you must abide. Respond rationally rather than reacting emotionally to what you must abide by using those things as opportunities for self-mastery. There's a Stoic phrase, "The obstacle is the way." That is, you become a better person by determining how you will respond to those things that you can't control. Second, enjoy what you can within such parameters that exist. This is Epicureanism. Seek pleasure over pain within reason. No, don't become a heroin addict because you feel better when you're goofy on the drug. That has long-term consequences that no rational person would embrace. But within what is available and in your best interest. There are going to be things that you can do to comfort yourself, and you should do them. Finally, the skepticism: never mistake opinion for knowledge, and understand that all knowledge is partial. Therefore, keep updating what rational responses you make to events, and as information changes, your response may need to change too. This is the golden way. At least it's what I regard as the golden way, and is how I orient my own life. A combination of these three ancient philosophies, which in ancient times they just called philosophy. Don't rely on something external to yourself to solve your problems. That is immature. As a child, it's fine to rely upon your parents to solve your problems. That's part of what they're there for. But as an adult, we understand that no one's going to solve our problems for us but us. And so, as a motto of my own practice states, take control of your life through the power of your mind. I became a hypnotist in part to teach people how to do that using the whole of the mind, not just the conscious function, but the unconscious function as well. But it's always in service to the golden way. And the golden way is how I order my life. Thank you very much for your time and attention. I'll probably be putting these videos together on this philosophical theme into some sort of a package, which I'll make available on my website. Also, in February, I will be preaching a sermon at Countryside Church Unitarian Universalist here in Illinois. It's in Palatine, for those of you who may be local. The service will be online, so you go to the website, ccuu.org. You can find out how to attend. I'll be talking on the pleasures of the calm pleasures of a mild philosophy, and it's going to touch upon this stuff. So I'll include these videos and that sermon in some sort of a package and make it available at least to my patrons on Patreon and perhaps to other people as well. Next week, I will be back with a different topic, and what I'm going to do next Saturday is a question box. I'm going to take questions from my subscribers and my fans and answer them in real time, pretty much without preparation. So you'll hear me spontaneously talk about things that you suggest. So if you do have a question you want to handle, please respond through Facebook or message me or send me an email or whatever you want to do. But I will cherish and consider your questions carefully. Thank you much. Stay well and stay safe.